About 15,000 delegates, 10,000 observers and 2,000 journalists have descended on Durban for 2 weeks, and voting is underway in the DRC despite weekend violent clashes. Ambusiso Hadebe with the latest news update. About 15,000 delegates, 10,000 observers and 2,000 journalists have descended on Durban for 2 weeks. The conference will tackle the climate change crisis that the planet is facing. Scientists say the global temperature rise must be kept below 2 degrees Celsius for a chance to avoid catastrophic climate change. SABC environmental journalist Rochelle Seaton-Rogers is at the conference.
Scientists say that carbon emitted from man-made activities, such as the burning of fossil fuels, is causing our climate to change. The talks aim to get countries to cut their carbon emissions and for poorer developing countries to get assistance to adapt to a changing world. The talks' toughest challenge will be deciding on the fate of the Kyoto Protocol. The first commitment period expires at the end of next year. Rochelle Seaton-Rogers, SABC News, Durban.
There are calls on key polluter countries to agree to work toward a legally binding global deal by 2015 to reduce carbon emissions. European Union leaders say they are willing to extend their commitment to the Kyoto Protocol beyond its expiry in December next year. They have warned that it makes no sense to do so if Russia, Canada and Japan insist on not doing the same. The EU wants the Durban talks to produce a roadmap to a legally binding framework that will cover 100% of greenhouse gases blamed for global warming. Environmental group Greenpeace says it is time for governments to stop listening to carbon-intensive polluting corporations and pay attention to the pleas of ordinary people. Climate campaigner Malita Steele.
The utility like Eskom is playing an influential role in the negotiations, but Eskom in 2010 accounted for as much as 45% of South Africa's emissions. And what Greenpeace is saying is that governments are listening to these corporations and their vested interests, which is in increasing emissions and increasing our dependency on fossil fuels, instead of listening to people who are saying that we actually want to move away from this kind of dependency.
The Law Society of South Africa says President Jacob Zuma should seek guidance from the legal profession and the Constitutional Court before he considers the Protection of State Information Bill. The National Assembly approved the so-called secrecy bill last week. The Society's Praveen Sham says they will soon make presentations to government and to the National Council of Provinces. The bill has been widely criticized, with some saying it will hamper the fight against corruption. And lastly, voting is underway in the Democratic Republic of Congo despite weekend violent clashes that saw at least 3 people killed and scores wounded and forced authorities to cancel the last day of campaigning. Over 30 million people are registered to vote for the presidential and parliamentary elections. Incumbent President Joseph Kabila faces a strong challenge from veteran opposition leader Etienne Tshisekedi. SABC senior specialist reporter Mahlatsi Gallants has more.
There were doubts over the elections following logistical challenges and the violence, but with the assistance of South Africa, Angola and the United Nations, officials scrambled to distribute the ballots to over 60,000 polling stations across the vast country. The Electoral Commission says it is all systems go and the hope is for a peaceful election. Mahlatsi Gallants, SABC News, Kinshasa, DRC.
Catch the latest news anytime here on Newsbreak, Option 1.